darkness, but it's full of everybody that's part of the darkness. Yeah. So anyway, we're all watching the game, and as we're watching the game, there's about 5 minutes left in the second quarter, and all of a sudden, there's an overhead shot of this game. And you could already see there were a ton of empty seats in this place. A ton. And my goodness, this overhead shot.
The Indiana Fever's preseason matchup against Nigeria produced a lopsided final score, but the result itself was far from the most talked about element of the night. Two separate issues drew immediate attention, and both pointed toward larger concerns surrounding the franchise heading into the regular season. The first was the state of the arena. An overhead camera angle captured during the final minutes of the second quarter showed a significant number of vacant seats throughout the building.
Literally, the account that put this out, tons of empty seats, and this was pre-halftime. Correct. There was about 5 minutes left before the half when this shot came up. And it led me, there were so many empty seats, I actually went over and had pulled up the following graphic that I'm going to put up in front of you, which is, that is the layout from Ticketmaster. Everything in
the image spread quickly online, and it was accompanied by another telling detail. Tickets for the game were available on Ticketmaster for as little as $12 and $13, with wide sections of the seating chart still open at tip-off. For a team built around one of the most marketable players in the sport, attendance figures at that level during a home game, even a preseason one, represent a visible sign of disconnection between the franchise and its fan base. The sentiment among supporters is that last season left damage that has not been repaired, and the empty seats appear to reflect that frustration in a concrete way. The second issue was the team's depth, which was exposed in uncomfortable fashion despite the opponent.
That is the layout from Ticketmaster. Everything in the blue had tickets available for this game. And also this other little lovely graphic that you're seeing, $12 and $13 tickets for this game. $12 and $13 tickets for this game. Now tell me again, everything's cool in the Indiana Fever fandom, right? Is that what we're trying to say? Because no, it does not look that way.
Indiana's starters built a commanding advantage through the first half, but once the bench unit took over, Nigeria's squad played the Fever nearly even across the second half. Players further down the rotation struggled to maintain separation, raising legitimate questions about how this roster will hold up against competitive WNBA teams once the regular season begins. The concern is not new size, length, and depth have been recurring topics, but watching a bench-heavy lineup get pushed close by a national team that had no realistic shot at winning underlined those concerns in a way that is hard to dismiss. On the individual side, Caitlin Clark turned in another encouraging performance despite limited minutes.
No, it does not look that way. And even though this game, obviously, against Nigeria was a blowout, in a lot of ways, it proved some people right. The Fever scored 15 points to Nigeria's 12 in the third quarter. The depth is a problem on this team. Let's just go over here, box score. Look at this, folks. 15-12.
In 12 minutes of action, she finished 3 of 4 from the field, 2 of 3 from three-point range, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, and added 4 assists for 12 total points. Her shot has looked noticeably sharper across the last 2 preseason outings, with her range and mechanics appearing closer to her college form. A deep ball from well beyond the arc and a smooth mid-range turnaround were among the highlights. Her passing was on display as well, including a well-timed entry pass to Sophie Cunningham cutting toward the basket.
15-12, 18-16. Nigeria has played the back end of the Fever roster. We're talking about Hines Allen and Dantas being on the court. Raven Johnson being on the court. Michaela Timpson being on the court. And Nigeria has played us damn near even in the second half. Damn near even.
Clark finished with a plus 3.2 rating in her time on the floor, while Cunningham posted a plus 3.4. Kelsey Mitchell continued her strong preseason with 17 points on 6 of 9 shooting and a perfect 3 of 3 from three-point range. Sophie Cunningham added 8 points on 3 of 4 from the field. Aaliyah Boston, returning from her absence, played 10 minutes and contributed 4 points, 6 assists, and 1 rebound.
What have we been preaching? Depth, length, size. And you're playing Nigeria. I mean, if it wasn't for the starters, it would be ass pucker time watching this. This team is not deep enough. This Fever team is not deep enough as currently constituted. Sorry, not sorry. So,
the broadcast itself lost its commentary team during the third quarter, leaving only ambient crowd noise from what sounded like a few thousand fans in the building. The overall picture heading into the season is one that will require honest assessment. The starters look capable, but beyond the top 6 or 7 players, the roster has question marks that a schedule of real WNBA opponents will quickly expose. Add to that, a fan base that is visibly withholding enthusiasm after a difficult 2024 campaign, and the Fever face a situation that goes beyond what happens on the court.
Not sorry. So, some key takeaways here. Caitlin Clark continued to look good from the field. 12 minutes, 3 of 4, 2 of 3 from three-point range, 4 of 4 from free throws, 4 assists, 12 points. Kelsey hit some shots tonight. 17.6 and 9 from the field, 3 of 3 from three-point range. Sophie, 8 points, 3 of 4 from the field, 1 of 2 from three-point range. So,
$12 tickets at home with Caitlin Clark in uniform were not a reality in prior seasons. That shift is something the organization will need to address both in terms of roster construction and fan trust going forward. The Indiana Fever's third and final preseason matchup is an exhibition contest against the Nigerian national team, and the word exhibition carries full weight here. This is not a competitive evaluation.
The field, 1 of 2 from three-point range. So, and Aaliyah Boston was back, played 10 minutes, 4 points, had 6 assists in this game, and 1 rebound. But there were times, even when the starters were in, I was like, yikes, I don't even like the length of this club with our ones right now. I didn't love it. You know,
There is nothing riding on the outcome, no lineup decisions hinging on the result, and no tactical information to be extracted from a 4-0 point blowout against a side that would likely lose to a top college program. If the Fever wanted to run the score up, they could. The expectation is that they will not, opting instead to put something entertaining on the floor for the crowd similar to what was on display when they faced the Brazilian national squad earlier in the preseason. Nigeria is not without talent.
We're going to see anything too crazy. We're going to see the Indiana Fever, for lack of a better word. I think we're going to see them out here bullshitting. I think they're going to try put on a show for their crowd, just like they did in Iowa when they faced the Brazilian national team. The Indiana Fever, they're not as bad as Brazil without Dantas and Cardoso. But, like, if the Fever wanted to win this game, they could win this game by 80 points. I don't think they will, because the Nigerian national team have been...
Kalu is probably around WNBA caliber, and the national team has been semi-competitive in recent outings, staying within roughly 30 points against stronger opposition. There will be brief stretches where they hold their own. But over the course of the game, the gap in quality is too wide to produce any genuine suspense. Caitlin Clark is confirmed to play.
Game by 80 points. I don't think they will, because the Nigerian national team have been semi-competitive, as in losing by like 30. And there are a few players, like Kalu is probably WNBA-ish standard. I think there's a situation, like they're an Olympic team, I guess. There are situations where, and times in the game where Nigeria are probably going to be on top, but that'll be small periods of the game. My expectation is we're going to see very limited minutes from Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston.
Given the knee knock she picked up in the previous game, her minutes should be closely managed. The expectation is somewhere under 10. Aaliyah Boston and Ty Harris are also likely to be limited, with a ceiling of around 15 to 16 minutes each. The bulk of the playing time is expected to go to players on the roster bubble, particularly the group competing for what appears to be a single remaining spot, a battle likely involving McConnell, Traylor, and Timmons.
Boston, Ty Harris. I think we're going to see them probably playing in and around 15 minutes. I think we're going to see them playing like at most 16, 17 minutes each. I think we see Caitlin play sub 10. I think we see a lot of...
Yuste Amukamara is not in the playing roster for this game. Her knee was visibly taped in recent sessions, and she has not been seen at practice since, which points toward a genuine injury. The timing, combined with a cryptic post on social media, has generated speculation, though that speculation has been fueled largely by unverified comments in online threads, which have a poor track record when it comes to WNBA roster news.
10. I think we see a lot of... I think we're going to see a lot of minutes for between McConnell, Traylor, and Timmons, because I understand, like, obviously if for McConnell and them you have to cut them and then call them back for development. That being said, my expectation is that they're fighting it out for one spot. I still think Justine Bissott, I don't know what was up with Justine Bissott's tweet yesterday. Like, everyone is like reading into it as different things.
The source quality on these kinds of stories tends to be low, and the conclusions drawn from them are often wrong. Damiris Dantas will almost certainly see extended minutes here. The context matters. She is facing an international side, and there is a pattern emerging that she performs better against that level of competition than against WNBA rosters.
Like, reading into it as different things. A random person who came into my comment section claimed to even know her. I'm not out here using a damn comment section as a source or comment as a source, but I'm like, that's the problem with WNBA, is that if you look it's random comments in random places. Like the DeWanna Bonner quitting the Indiana Fever, she left for personal reasons. When she was missed a game for personal reasons, there was a comment on Reddit saying DeWanna Bonner.
If she has a strong game, the appropriate response is to note the caveat before drawing conclusions. Regardless of how the preseason ends, Dantas is not being cut right now. The organization has carried her this far on the basis of what she is capable of on paper. She remains a hypothetical rather than a proven contributor at this level.
For personal reasons. When she was missed a game for personal reasons, there was a comment on Reddit saying DeWanna Bonner's gone. DeWanna Bonner's gone. She's never playing for the Fever again. And people were like, we were worried about her. It's like, she's quit. She wants to go. She's only playing for Phoenix. And it's like a fucking Reddit post, a Threads post, a comment in a YouTube section. Heck, like, when people were all the reason why I found out when people were that Dominique Malonga was coming over straight away to the WNBA and not staying in France for another year because people were questioning that, was because Dominique Malonga's dad commented on one of my YouTube videos to say that Dominique Malonga was coming over. It's the weirdest.
A reasonable checkpoint would be roughly 10 games into the regular season. If nothing has changed by then, the decision becomes easier. Kika Timmons should also see significant floor time.
This thing ever. Nobody knows what's going on, and obviously you're seeing cryptic tweets. I would love to have seen Justine Bissott today. I would have loved to have seen Bissott. But unfortunately, Justine Bissott is not in the playing roster today. Like, I have no question that she is injured. By the looks of things, absolutely, she had her knee taped up. She was at the doctor's. Like, I don't think there's no way they're fabricating the injury. If they fabricate an injury,
Myisha Hines-Allen is another player who will get reps, and while she functions as something of an unpredictable option, the comparison to Natasha Howard is not unreasonable. Similar movement patterns, similar decision-making tendencies, slightly better passing. The key difference is the contract figure, which tilts the value calculation noticeably. Mo Billings continues to need improvement on the defensive end.
That's something, but it does look fishy as well. Everything looks fishy with her, with that situation or going on around her, because just the timing of the fact she hasn't been seen since she said she wanted to make a roster. But yeah, it's a it's an interesting one. For the rest of the players, I hope we see something positive out of Demiris Dantas. She is playing a national team, so if she does go and give you 20,
Nothing meaningful will be settled tonight. A dominant win over the Nigerian national team tells the Fever nothing they did not already know, and a surprise result would be equally meaningless in terms of what it says about the regular season ahead. The game is best understood as one final opportunity for depth players to make a case, and for the Stars to log a few low-stakes minutes before the real schedule begins.